Hello guys, and today we celebrate Flag Day in Ukraine, and yesterday we have destroyed a command point in Kursk region. But I want to start this video with the analysis of reports from Volgograd region of the Russian Federation, where they had a very serious prison riot. Why? Because I believe this is a perfect metaphor, a perfect illustration of Russia itself. Russia is a prison for peoples or for people, whatever you prefer, and I'm sure it can seriously be damaged by various riots that start happening in different corners of this evil empire. So let me tell you more about the most important events of this day, but starting with the prison riot in Volgograd. Honestly, I've never expected I will talk about similar things. Also, I do not hope in the civil society of Russia, and all the riots and revolutions that happen there or will happen there will definitely be very dark, very gloomy, very sad and bloody. Well, let's continue. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and I'm very proud to be Ukrainian. Tomorrow we celebrate our Independence Day, and this is a greatest achievement of Ukrainian people too in these challenging times. Subscribe to see Russia defeated and join me tomorrow for live at 9 p.m. Kyiv time. So according to the reports from different Russian media sources, in one of its very big prisons in Volgograd region, there was a big prison riot with lots of prison workers taken as hostages. They demanded a ransom of $1 million or $2 million, a helicopter, and other things. All of that happened in the very same region where days ago we have destroyed a huge airfield with lots of warehouses and guided bombs in them. I'm sure you remember the reports about this hours of detonation that led to the destruction of many evil bombs. That is beautiful, but that is also a demonstration of Russia's weakness, total unpreparedness for real war that is always coming back home. And now we see that many of its regions are already a war zone. 100 of settlements in Kursk region under the control of the Ukrainian armed forces, explosions all over bordering regions and their military objects, and of course, guys in prison know about that. What they feel, and this is a very good illustration of Russian way of ruling and living by these prison laws, where the strongest survives, the most violent survives, and bullies rule. So in general, Russia is a prison and people there are prisoners. And the way they are treated by their government, the way they are afraid of being free in their thoughts, expressions, and it actually greatly resembles the prison. And the fact that there are serious, I won't use a good word, protests, serious riots in Russian prisons, this illustrates that deep down they understand Putin and co, main criminals of Russia, actually do not control the situation anymore. By the way, I have just remembered that Prigozhin, I'm sure those of you who follow Russian war in Ukraine remember the leader of the Wagner group who started his march to the Kremlin, who also had lots of prisoners among his military units. It was his campaign to unite Russia's prisoners to the Wagner group, but he himself was a criminal with decades of experience, if it's possible to say so, in prison. So this criminal prison culture is extremely widespread in Russia. That is one of the reasons why they won't be able to organize territorial defense similar to the Ukrainian, when we were literally giving thousands of weapons to Ukrainian people and nothing happened. And when asked to return back, months after the start of invasion. We did, and Russians won't. And this riot in prison in Volgograd, where they might have heard the explosions on the military airfield, where they definitely know that Kursk is under the control of the Ukrainian armed forces, they feel, they sense that their main criminal, Putin, is weak. Subscribe to see him in The Hague and Russia defeated. And I honestly think that taking into account this Russian context, it would be very smart to control and aid the process of Russia's dissolution. Please stop being afraid of that. This is a natural process that all empires have already gone through in the previous centuries, and Russia has to face now. But these Russian riots, protests, and revolutions, they are never that beautiful, that civilized, that humane as, for example, our Orange Revolution or the Revolution of Dignity, or other in Georgia or in the Baltic countries at the beginning of the 90s. Russians are very different, unfortunately. They are serfs, they are very angry, you know, that like, let's watch and see what happens. Yesterday we have targeted a command point in Kursk region, which is like great because we control more and more territories that will later be exchanged for the Ukrainian territories, because we respect 1991 borders, but now both, not just for Ukraine, but also for Russia. There are rumors that this strike might have been with the US missile. We don't know that for sure. We remember that our partners do not allow Ukraine to strike back, which is not very logical, but until we get the permission, I'm sure we will follow the rules. That's the way Ukrainians are. And today, the Prime Minister of India, the country that is often named as the biggest in the world democracy, visited Ukraine. Well, definitely, it was difficult for Prime Minister Modi after Putin decided to destroy Ukrainian Children's Hospital, Cancer Hospital in Kyiv on the day of his visit to Moscow. I'm sure that was a great humiliation for Prime Minister Modi, and it was a great mistake of Putin. You don't do such war crimes on the day when you're visited by a respected world leader. And I actually think that one of the reasons why Modi decided to visit Kyiv was because of that bad coincidence. They have visited the memorial to the children that were killed during Russian war. Unfortunately, there are many. Please don't forget about that. When you hear people who say we have to negotiate or we don't know whom to blame, there are very vivid and very dramatic illustrations of Russian crimes, and Zelensky and Modi visited these memorials. Of course, they will speak about the need to negotiate. India is the country that has close connections with Russia, but I totally agree with what Modi said Putin at the very start of the invasion in Samarkand, that in the 21st century you do not decide your problems with military means. But Putin is living in the 30s, in the 40s of the previous century, and you know, then we need to defeat him and then start this diplomatic political discussions, but with people who will come after him. And today we celebrate the Flag Day in Ukraine, and actually the visit on such day is also very symbolic. And guys, flags mean a lot. You cannot imagine how safe we feel when we see blue and yellow flags. They are a symbol, and that's insane how many emotional experiences people have with these flags during these times. People cannot celebrate this day. People have to hide their flags when they are on the occupied territories, and many do that. They do not destroy. It seems like a piece of cloth. You can do whatever you want, you can throw it away, but no, they hide them, they preserve them, and they will pass them from generation to generation in free and independent Ukraine. I was taking an interview today with one very beautiful person who had experience of life in occupation in Melitopol. I'm sure sometime soon I will share the story in the book. Actually, I start liking the book more and more because I put more real life stories there. And these people who are now on the temporarily occupied territories, carrying Ukrainian flags, hiding them, knowing they can be executed for that, but preserving them, this is what makes our flags so important, so precious. And I'm really proud whenever I see them, and I feel so warm. And when you see people carrying these flags on your territories, come up, say them something. It may mean a lot to us, and I know you do that, and I'm very grateful. And to demonstrate our positive gratitude and to send more Ukrainian flags to the world, we have sale in our merch shop, -15 on everything. There are lots of beautiful t-shirts and sweatshirts if you're getting ready for autumn, caps and stickers that tell the story of Ukraine, our resilience today, our beautiful cultural heritage. And I love when you share your stories, how these t-shirts, for example, work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. This is the mission of this merch. So do check if you like something. It's good time to get -15 on everything. And remember to join me tomorrow at 9 p.m. Kyiv for our live conversation. Let's celebrate the Day of Independence of Ukraine. That's important. I often get questioned, is it okay to celebrate when your country is at war and every day is very tragic? But this is what we are fighting for, our independence. We understand that we have it now, we will have it at a very high price, but at the same time, this is definitely a value to celebrate. So I invite all of you tomorrow, 9 p.m. Kyiv time, for this conversation in our friendly community. And I'm very grateful to have you in my life and to share this pride and happiness of Ukraine's independence, even in these challenging times, with you. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, and helping me film, interview, write more. I'm very grateful for that. Join me on Instagram. I'm active there. Also subscribe on Twitter, on Threads, and we have a beautiful Discord community. Join me there. I'm always glad to tell more about my country. And most importantly, thank you that you stand with Ukraine, that you organize various events to celebrate our independence and to attract attention to the Ukrainian fight against this global evil. Thank you for hosting Ukrainian refugees. Thank you for carrying blue and yellow flags, reminding the world Ukraine is a brave country that needs your support, but together we are stronger. Thank you once again. Slava Ukraini!